Hello? Hi. I wanted everybody to know what a big smile I had on my face. I figured this was the best way. A buddy of mine designed these for Threadless. They have the best shirts and masks, all kinds of cool stuff. I'll be doing a little fashion show all night. My name is Larry Dean Harris, if you didn't know, and I'm going to start crying right at the top because you're here, and I can't thank you enough. We've got all kinds of safety things to keep everybody happy. So I'm wearing like 7 things on my face right now. But we're just gonna dive right into the stories. How does that sound? All right. And as you know, oh my God, I almost forgot. The rules. We have so many rules. 6 feet apart, keep your masks on, hand sanitizer, no touching, no loving. So I thought we'd have our own strong words greeting. So what I'm asking everybody to do, instead of seeing everybody and hugging or whatever, I want you to flex and then do a big kiss, right? So it's mwah! Mwah! All right, I want to see that all night long. That'll be our signature, TM. And we are recording tonight's show, and maybe we'll put it up on the internet, show all those, I'm not going to say the word, pussies, that we're here and we're safe and we're here to have fun. So, without further ado, she was one of our very first and longest audience members, and she contributes to this production in so many different ways, and tonight is another first. Please welcome, making her Strong Words debut, Erica Elizabeth Koesler.
How's that? You guys hear me? No? Yes, you hear me. Okay, good. All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Larry, Michael, Randy, and Marlena for bringing our community back together. And my story is called Women Fly. At 18, my father, Rudy, left his hometown of Missoula, Montana, to volunteer for service in World War II. He was stationed in the Pacific Theater and flew with a crew of 5 other young men in the B-25 Mitchell bomber. He was a gunner in the hazardous top ball turret of the plane that was affectionately nicknamed the Barking Bitch. As a girl, I loved sitting on our porch with Rudy, breathing in the smoke from his Pall Mall in a warm San Fernando Valley day. He'd replicate the deafening sounds that the Barking Bitch made and would tell me of the incredible views he saw of the Pacific through the glass ball turret that could spin 360 degrees. His tour of duty was near the war's end, so he didn't see much air-to-air combat, but was instead assigned to the occupation and rehabilitation of Japan after the surrender. Wiping the tears from his eyes, Rudy would tell me that he was witness to the horrible after effects and destruction from the atomic bombs that were dropped on the civilians of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He took me to air shows so that we could visit the old warbirds and reminisce with other veterans about their experiences flying the old planes. I was seduced by flight, so years later, when I landed a job at the Delta Wing hang gliding factory, sewing glider sails, I was able to talk one of the cute boys who worked there, into teaching me to fly. I quickly learned that flying a hang glider is a very physical sport. I had to manage a 30-foot wingspan that generated lift, countered gravity with pitch and roll while running down a hill. There were bloody knees, bruises, and tears, but it was all worth it when I first experienced the beautiful buoyancy of flight. I fell for a beautiful and talented pilot from Spain. He had an olive complexion and the most adorable chiseled nose. He could craft, design, or fix anything, and I was completely intoxicated by him. For 17 years, we were traveling pals. We schlepped our gliders through airports to flying sites worldwide. Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, a crater lake at the foot of a sleeping volcano. Stanwell Park near Sydney, Australia, where I soared for hours on ocean cliffs and didn't land because I couldn't figure out which way is north or south. But mostly, we flew our home site in Sylmar, California, where we developed a strong community of friends that became our extended family. We were a collection of eccentric people, imagining ourselves to be a secret society that was extraordinary. After landing our gliders, we would hang out in the landing zone for hours, drunk on adrenaline and spirits. We shared stories of being lifted to cloud base in thermals that boomed in the peak of the day's heat. Floating in clouds in silence is truly a surreal feeling, and I always knew while in this dream state that I was not supposed to be there. I imagine my father felt the same way while sitting in the glass ball turret of his B-25. In the 15th year of our relationship, the Spaniard changed careers from hang gliding to the film industry, and I began to lose him. He developed a social life with work friends without me, sometimes returning home in the wee hours with wet hair from the cleanup of someone else's shower. One Sunday, after a terrific day flying without him, I came home to discover that he had gathered all his belongings and had moved out. After another 2 years, we finally broke all ties forever. I learned he was expecting a child with a woman from work. I stopped flying and rarely saw my flying community, whom I had developed such rich bonds with after 20 years. I began to live a life of isolation, and the only relief I could find was through my daily hikes in our local mountains and the Al-Anon program. One evening, while sobbing alone in my house, I picked myself up and went to a meeting that I had never been to. It was a hot day and there was no air conditioning in the room. I was sweating on a stained velvet couch when this larger-than-life man stepped into the room. He stood tall and had good hair. A friendly grin spread across his face as he beelined to sit next to me. "Hi, my name is David," he declared. When the meeting was finished, we spoke a bit. Then he handed me his card and he 13-stepped me. To this day, he still insists that he was just being of service. We set a time to meet for coffee. Then we walked a long distance up Ventura Boulevard, and I can still remember looking at his beautiful long hair as we passed the shops. He told me that he was leaving for Europe to be with family and would be gone for a while. I figured that meant that I would never see him again, and since I had nothing to lose, I told him that I collected souvenir floaty pens and asked if he could pick one up for me. I was missing Germany from my collection. He did finally return, and he contacted me. Over dinner, he handed me a small brown paper bag filled with floaty pens from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. After 3 years of dating, I moved in with David, and we enjoyed date night together every Wednesday night at the bodybuilder's gym. David had been going to this gym since he was 13. Imagine that, a pretty straight boy who loved working out at a gay gym in 1980. Eventually, that gym would also become a very special part of my life too. One evening, while at the gym counter talking to Mark, some guy walked up to us and put his gross, sweaty towel on the counter and started asking questions. I was so repulsed and so focused on this wet towel that I didn't give him the time of day. In time, I really did kind of start to like this guy. And eventually, he invited us to an event in the neighborhood. That guy with the sweaty towel was Larry Dean Harris. And the event was Strong Words. In my 8 years of attending Strong Words, it has become a monthly retreat for me. I love hanging out afterwards and sharing ideas sparked by the magic of the storytellers, just as I did with my flying community. Losing my flying community taught me the importance of gathering with others and to feel a deeper sense of belonging. Meeting David, who took me to the gym where I met Larry, helped me to find my new secret society, which has expanded way beyond the gym. And as for Rudy, a few years before he died, my family took him to the Burbank airport for one last ride in his beloved B-25. An organization called Operation Gratitude gave the last living World War II veterans rides in the restored B-25 and the B-17 Flying Fortress. They were known as honor flights. The runway was filled with veterans from the greatest generation that had gathered one last time together as we have gathered here tonight. Thank you.
I'm so glad we had this time together. This is how we do it.
There's windows.
Making up for that sweaty towel. But we're not done yet. Got to change the condom. So one thing, there's one upside to this whole new seating situation is I don't have to worry about you putting your feet up on the chairs anymore. So I'm a little grateful for that. See, there's a brighter side to everything, right? All right. Clean, clean, clean. Our next performer, she's a virgin to us, but certainly not to the stage. She's been all around the world, and I couldn't believe it when she said yes. And then I made her wait 9 months. And even though she's never met me, or any of you, she said yes. And it is your pleasure to hear her. Please welcome, making her Strong Words debut, Sholeh Wolpe.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
This piece is called This Coffin. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a poet and a playwright. So sometimes in my work, I like to mix prose and poetry and drama. Let's see if we can make this work. It's not playing. Okay, it's not gonna work. I'm sorry, I can't give you music today. Okay. It's not gonna work, sorry. Usually I perform with live musicians. I was trying to give you that experience. Next time, when I don't have to stand behind a plexiglass. This coffin. I lie on my old spring bed thinking about girls who slit their wrists, who pour kerosene on their heads and light a match. I'll be 13 soon. We kiss the warm earth, lips drawing moans from the sea. Fountains of semen like ghosts and flimsy shrouds recreate us, sinew by shadow, by flesh. And this coffin, mine. Mother's cousin is soon to be married. She's visiting from her village and they've installed her in my room. I ask about her fiancé, but she says I'm too young for that talk. Every night she shoves my doll into my arms and kisses me goodnight. Who does she know who takes comfort from sleeping with a stiff metal-made body? If I tell her this, her eyelashes will blink away my words. I clutch the doll and say goodnight. Billboards retch meandering slogans, guns held up by fetching rough men, half-smoked cigarettes dangling from mouths. I sit on an embroidered cushion under a makeshift tent, pretend I'm on a hill high above Tehran. Below, the city is veiled with smog. I stare for a long time, take a deep breath, and walk down into the gray mass. When I return to my tent, mind you, this is only in my head, I take out a notebook and write what I've seen. In one story, a girl is stolen by a monster who hides in a cave and loves her until she catches his monsterness like a cold. In another, a boy whose schoolmates call him najes, unclean, takes revenge by spitting into their Coke bottles when they're not looking. I have 15 such stories. I submit my least favorite, the brightest and cleanest of them all, to a contest at school and win. I show mom and dad the medal and read them the story. They smile and say, bah, bah, good job. When I tell them I have many better than this, they say, bravo, now go and do your homework before dinner is served. The house is corpses of women, cooking meal after meal. The house is my voice trapped beneath blue bed sheets. It is a child on a rooftop watching stars, those scorching bodiless heads shoot across night sky. My country stands behind the tree laden with fruit, yet hungry. Instead of seeds, it plants landmines in the fertile soil, arranges vowels along its windowsills like shells from an oil-ridden shore. I carry my coffin on my back. As I contemplate opening my veins with mother's kitchen knife, I ask the poster of Gugush, my pop rebellious idol, what's the point? Would my death cancel the wedding they're planning? Will it stop all jolly feasts in the family this year? Next year, will they sing at my funeral? Wear a red dress, will you? The city chokes in morning glory, which grows along its tall windows, over the tables and chairs of restaurants, through the crevices of brick walls in old libraries. At the border station, they fill up our tanks with shoes that spawn nightmares. I have perfected the art of eavesdropping. I hide behind furniture or crawl under mom's bed to listen to adults, into the old-fashioned keyhole of my bedroom door, which luckily opens to the living room. I stick a long straw attached to a cardboard earpiece shaped like a trumpet, where I rest my ear. At night, the adults bring out baklava and tea, huddle around the kerosene stove and talk. They assume I'm fast asleep. Our walls are thick, so they don't whisper. Mother talks as if she swallowed the school's principal's loudspeaker. She claims she's deaf in one ear because my father snores like an elephant. I say, elephants don't snore. She points at Dad and says, this one does. Now I hold my breath and listen, but they're not speaking about a marriage. They're not laughing. Panic is like smoke, enters through the keyhole. Who has been arrested? Fear rocks the cradle until the city falls silent. It licks the inky outlines of churches and temples from its lips, the shadows of unbelievers and infidels. Doors uproot themselves. Want some ash for your soup? A little for your lover's tea? I promise I will not haunt you. This is only to cure us of our names, country, heroes. In Trinidad, my aunt takes care of me. My grandmother cooks and gives plenty of advice. I get fat. I get lost. My skin isn't dark enough. It isn't white enough. My hair doesn't curl tight, nor does it fall straight like a waterfall. I wish I could iron my tongue, crease it sharp so I could belong. Refugees trail the narrow roads like sheep wandering the edges of hallucination. They have no name and their throats are foggy with mournful songs. They are the dead who smell of bone ash. They carry their coffins on their backs and the bones in their eyes ache. Daddy sends me to an all-girl boarding school in England. My roommate has long blonde hair. She mocks the dark hair above my lips. I buy tweezers. Mother's cousin calls, says the postars came knocking on our door looking for her husband. She ran out the back door, thank God, but they would not leave empty-handed. They went next door and arrested our pregnant Baha'i neighbor. I want my Mattel doll back. I want it shoved into my arms. I promise not to eavesdrop. Women sing absence like opera. They sprinkle it on white sheets like perfume grafted to trees, like branches from homeland, indelible sacrifications on their lips. The dance is this late breeze, swings the hangman's rope. It is your cold fingers through my hair. Think of those left behind, he says. The young girls they just hanged for refusing to convert. A good religious girl, I'm on display under a bell jar. No boyfriends, no late night parties, no drinking in the United States. All Daddy cares about is to protect my virginity. He guards it like his wallet. Don't wish for death. It may hear you and come, dressed like a clown. Don't wear your scars like notes scribbled on the margins of books. Don't line your shoes along the cold wings of a plane about to take off. Fear slurps my living skin like a lynx. I walk with a coffin on my back. To escape Daddy's rules, I get married. He's relieved. It's exhausting to protect a girl in a place like America. He holds his head between his palms when Mom reminds him what we have lost. The losing never stops. Not just things, family, friends, people we have known all our lives. Dr. So-and-so is now a dishwasher at a diner in DC. The engineer who built such and such bridge laid tiles in rich people's homes in LA. My school principal and his wife, well, they just disappeared. Tonight, I lose the way to my next dream. Like a candle in a paper boat, Daddy offers me to the sea. I chant every prayer I know, but no mermaid takes pity and returns me to my childhood. My songs will not wake the moon's face, the house grass, snow, donkeys burdened with almonds. Instead, the sound of knives sharpens against darkness. Instead, my blouse aches from this cold, contagious absence. I divorce, marry again, a man I love. Under every grok I look for home, inside every shirt, between pistachio shells, even in the smoky cloud rising from kebabs cooking over hot coals. I am naive, so I have children. They teach me everything except the meaning of home. And when they are gone, I run again. There is no kitchen on the rooftop. Here are the abandoned bicycles, the colors you buried between walls, the rush of a train over a crumbling bridge. The hyacinths carry the stench of false spring. Its incessant comings and goings like lovers. The bandit wolf, the psychotic cat, the horny dog. Come back, Sholeh the child. Let me splash inside you again, sit in you without fear of drowning. Let me drink from you, declare you my country. Defend you with my wounded knees. Make my curly hair your flag, my ribs your borders. Lovers, they come and are ejected. The entertainer who steals, the hallucinating attorney, the trumpet player with medals and guns, the double-dealing psychologist, the sum of them is less than zero. There is nothing left to subtract. Every spring, the tree in the backyard regains its leaves, but the mockingbird returns with the same damn song in his beak. It's raining heartbeats again between operatic war sirens and the high notes of falling bombs. Rain washing the cobblestones of ink, blood, washing till only ash remains, clinging to my coffin like mud. There is nothing but a black universe where God, if there is a God, rides its scooter, a reckless adolescent. But whoever created us hardwired hope into our neurons. Beauty opens its eyes and greets us with its indelible blue sky. We spread our arms, even we know the blue is a lie. Every day, I stand in front of a firing squad. Eyes tightly bound with a red kerchief, I think about my mortgage, the price of utilities, the color of your shoes. I stand in my puddle and worry about my burial expenses. They aim, but do not shoot. I dedicate this poem to the coffin on my back.